This is interesting. I'm going back again towards the beginning. Look, I can't really, as I told you, I can't really word by word, I can't do this. This is the words of the Buddha. Buddha said, Subhuti, when these sutra is taught, there are beings who are not afraid of it. And he said, that is very impressive. I'm making it very, very bad sort of summary. That is what we call the perfection of patience. There's a story about Manjushri. When Manjushri was discussing subjects like this, 500 arhats just had to die, basically, because they couldn't take it anymore. We are not dying. Must mean that we understand all or none. But I shouldn't discourage you like that. Actually, this means that we belong to what we call the race of the Bodhisattva. We don't know one word of what these sutras are talking, but somehow we still like it, isn't it? It's actually quite amazing when, like last year I made a short dance music on Heart Sutra. And these kids, they're not Buddhist, none, like right out of the street. And they really like these words like no eyes, no nose, and they really like that. It's what we call, what do they call it? Propensity? Is it pacha? Some kind of a, is it pacha? Propensity? Like it's a sort of better than habit. Sort of positive habit. Okay, I want to hear some questions so that I know whether we are actually communicating or not. Ask me only this though. Nothing about Vajrayana. I'm not explaining anything about Vajrayana. You shouldn't be asking that question. This instruction of not to do anything is, I don't know completely, but I have heard this even from the Tibetan masters, and I've heard a lot, and sometimes I have a glimpse of understanding of what they mean, and when I do have these understanding, I do get so frustrated, not so much about other things, but how I can convince others that this is actually quite an amazing thing to do, not doing anything. It's quite but very difficult to express, very difficult to practice, but out of the Buddha's compassion, many methods are introduced to practice this. Thousands of ways, thousands of doings actually, thousands of activities, thousands of doings in order not to do. Probably the closest and the most popular and the closest way to this concept of not doing anything is meditation. I'm talking about the Buddhist meditation, because these days, term meditation is used for all kinds of things. Many times people think that meditation is daydreaming. That's not meditation, according to Buddha. Not to do anything, if you really want to know how not to do anything, you have to sacrifice a little bit. And you should really follow a master. And I actually believe, I know only within Buddhism that, I don't know anyone from Taoism, but within Buddhism I really believe, and within my own limited knowledge, I believe that there are still great many masters who really know how to do it, and not only that, they actually do this not doing. Now don't think that this master has to be a scholar. You know what? Many times scholars, they're the worst. They really don't know not to do anything. They know how to talk it. This one needs personal coaching, so to speak. So it's kind of difficult. But there's one thing that we can do by Vajracharya book. Put it in your bag, better on the shrine. Every day offer an incense and say that one day I'm going to know you. One day I'm going to use you in every situation. And that's good already. That's really good. The great Nyingmapa master, Longchenpa said, the application bodhicitta is difficult to practice. For us beginners like us, aspiring bodhicitta is what needs to be emphasized. So, few things. I think some of these you already have. Even though you don't know one word of what this book is talking about, you still have some kind of a nice feeling about it. That's good. That's already good. That already means that you have a good propensity. This is good pakcha, we call it in Tibetan. It's a good habit, a karmic link. Probably once upon a time you were a small butterfly who accidentally sort of fell into the ink that a monk was trying so hard to write with the Vajracharya, Actually, the bad habit works also similarly. Some of us, for no reason, we have so much hatred. And some of we human beings, killing another human being is like easier than squishing a mosquito. Some beings have that kind of habit. And then, okay, so these are, so already we have that, some kind of aspiration. And then on the top of that, as Lord Maitreya said, hearing these teachings again and again and again. Okay, let me extend the merit again a little bit more. So now you will think, okay, yesterday Buddha said, Subhuti, what do you think? Did you think I taught? Subhuti says, yes. Oh, you are wrong, right? Now, Subhuti, you think 32 major marks of the Buddha? Oh, completely wrong. All of these you have heard. Now, this could really make you depressed. Who is going to hear my prayers? Okay, he has no form, therefore I guess he has no ear, so therefore he won't hear my prayers. And I make these offerings of flowers and incense every day. Who gets these? Are these all wrong? Should we stop doing this? Or are these all what you call the trick, the big trick? Actually, Buddha said to the Subhuti that the Buddha is not a being, not a person. So therefore, we talked about Buddha having a compassion is a wrong view, remember? So, the Buddha, this is our beloved Buddha, he doesn't have a compassion? How is he going to help me? Why we pray? And anyway, at least why should we listen to him? First of all, he doesn't even exist. That's what he himself says. How does this work? Okay. I have to borrow a little bit because the sutra itself is very tough to explain. I will borrow a Maitreya's example from Uttara Tantra. It's a very beautiful example. Maitreya said, one day a person is walking next to a beautiful lapis lazuli platform. And on the lapis lazuli platform or the ground, he saw the Lord Indra's reflection. And when he saw the reflection of the Indra, he was so impressed. Handsome, powerful, majestic, amazing qualities these guys seem to have. So he asked around, I want to become like him. Okay, all this while he's looking at the reflection, not even the real Indra. Those elders, they told him, oh yeah, if you want to be like this guy, you have to throw flowers and you have to, do the incense and all the rituals they taught him. You should refrain from killing, lying, cheating, all these non-virtuous you should refrain from. So, this person did it. refrained from smoking and drinking and killing and all of that, and really being diligent in helping others and all that. One day he became just like Indra. And this is a great example, I think, because first of all, the one that inspired this person was not even a real being. It was a reflection. Reflection wasn't thinking, oh, he's coming here, I better behave, I should accept his flower. He doesn't think like that. Reflection has no mind. But if not for this reflection, he will not behave, this guy, and he will keep on misbehaving. When he behaved and when he abandoned misbehaving, what really went on was he was cleaning the lapis lazuli again and again and again. The reflection became more and more. This is how the Buddhas help. Many of us, our lapis lazuli platform is not that clean, and many times the reflections there are not the reflections of Indra, because the lapis lazuli is not cleaned properly. That's why. This is how the Buddhas manifest. That guy thought, that reflection, the guy in the lapis lazuli is beautiful, and that inspired him. And this is what we call the activity of the Buddha. Okay, one more, maybe 3 questions, and we. Yes. Yeah, that's good. That's exactly why yeah, and then you should also read the good commentaries by people like Nagarjuna. Yeah, that's what you should do. These are relative concepts. So
his question is, according to, it seems, according to Rinpoche's view, the wisdom is leading the compassion. But sometimes what I heard is vice versa. It's kind of like compassion is leading the wisdom. So what is your view, or how do we see this?
First of all, wisdom and compassion, they are the same thing. I don't know. I'm sure the Chinese word for compassion must be really good, because compassion, English, I don't think is the right translation. Tuji Chenpo in Tibetan, great mind. When you have the wisdom, you have the equanimity. That is wisdom, equanimity. When you feel equal to everything, towards everything, meaning you have no clinging to yourself, isn't that compassion? Yes, but your question is good, very good. But because in many ways, compassion is easy to identify with. Like that lady's question, how do we begin not doing anything? Now, the wisdom is so difficult like that. We have no reference, you see. With the compassion, we can begin with love and kindness and the compassion, like sympathy and all that. This sutra is the sutra of wisdom. So this is why you hear the wisdom and more. If you, read the sutra, what beauty of compassion. Do you have any more question? Yeah, very good. How should I put this? This is a big question. Takes a lifetime to answer, I guess. And there's many different ways to answer this. Okay, let's make it complicated. There's a famous words of the Buddha which is quoted everywhere. And Buddha was talking about mind. He said, actually it's one phrase, but this phrase got, scholars, they analyze this and so many texts, just because of this phrase. Semla, sem machite, sem jiranjini versavavo. Very loosely translating, on mind. Mind. Just mind. There is no mind. Mind is luminous. The first phrase, first word, mind. From this comes the whole discourse of like the first, the sermon. Actually, this is also the interest today, because between scientist and the Buddhist, one thing that is still need to be discussed, is the definition of mind. If we could break through somehow, then there will be, the scientists and Buddhism and science can just, especially physicists and all this, there is no problem there. Now, what Buddha said, everything Buddha said, he will not say it arbitrarily, out of just because it's convenient to say. For instance, many times like scientists or even us, materialistic, when we say, my mind knew it. At that time, for instance, if you are a scientist, mind is just a label. For many scientists, it's a function of brain or function of gene and so on and so forth. But mind itself is just a hypothetical sort of label. Now, I will dramatize this a little bit. Okay? During those days, in India, something has happened in India. Shankaras, Mahaviras, Buddha, amazing thinkers. This is 2,500 years ago, by the way. There were philosophers who actually were doubting whether there is mind or not. But then Buddha, we call him lion's roar. With his lion's roar, he said, mind, the first phrase, indicating there is actually mind. So, if you ask your question, who is doing nothing? Then it is the mind that does nothing. But this is not only the answer I tell you. Let's move to the second phrase. In second phrase is, there is no mind. You see, he defeated his own first word. Just as, I'm dramatizing this. Just as people are beginning to settle, okay, now there's mind. Buddha said, there is no mind. All the teachings of what we call second sermon came through this, such as these. These belongs to the second sermon. Now, again you ask the same question. This time, second phrase. No one does nothing. Not only that, there is no such thing as not doing anything. Now we move to the third. Mind is luminosity. Again, defeating the same, the second phrase. Mind, there is no mind. Mind is, as if there is a mind now, which is a luminosity. Or the Buddha nature, you can call it. Taiwanese loves Buddha nature, so let's call it Buddha nature. Your question again. It is the luminosity that is doing the nothing. Now the question is, why does he have to say mind, there is no mind, mind is luminosity? Why does he have to say so? Why say just one thing? Because he is aiming to defeat three wrong views. First, he wants to defeat non-virtuous thoughts and attitudes and actions. So he like to say there is a mind that goes to hell or high heaven or hungry ghosts and all that sort of do the right thing business. Secondly, he wanted to defeat view. There is no. Secondly, he wants to defeat the existence. You see, mind, existence. He wants to defeat that. Third, he wants to defeat all views. So, existence he defeated, non-existence, even that he defeats. We should really do something worthwhile, like in Wonder Village or whatever.